If you're a residential real estate agent earning $200,000 a year and you want to grow your passive income, this show's for you. Learn the secrets other agents use and hear from experts in our field in order to guide you along your journey to investing in assets like apartment communities so that you can turn your commissions into cash flow. I'm Randall McLeod. Let's go, baby. All right, welcome back. I am interviewing a broker out of the Long Island area today. His name is Richard Raspantini. Have a great conversation with him talking about the unique style or the unique brokerage business model that they have. They do 100% commission going to their agents. So obviously that gives more cash back to the agents. And so I was curious how that works and if they're investing their money, what they're doing with their dollars. So we talk a little bit about that. Then we really get into his investment strategy, which is short-term rentals. He bought a number of them, and he tells the story about each one of them, how he picked those markets. We talk about how he financed them and some other things. So a really interesting conversation talking to him about the brokerage model that he has, and then how he's investing his dollars in the short-term rental game. So I enjoy our conversation with Rich, and I think you will too. As always, if you're getting value out of the show, please jump on, rate and review. Helps us out a ton. And without further delay, let's jump into our conversation. Here we go. All right, Rich, awesome. Thanks for jumping on today. I'm excited to have this conversation, talk to you about real estate, about cash flow, and about all the things that we're working on in our businesses. So why don't you go ahead and tell us just a little bit about yourself before we jump in?
Yeah, I'm the broker owner of HomeSmart Premier Living Realty. Currently, we have six locations across Long Island, almost 200 agents. Full service brokerage that happens to offer 100% commission to our agents. HomeSmart is one of the largest real estate companies in the country. I'm just a franchisee, and it's pretty much it.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about the HomeSmart brand, if that was something that you started or if that was around the country. So you just answered that. And so the 100% commission deal, I was digging into that and just saw some of the posts that you're putting up. And so I'm just kind of curious, how does that work? How does that business model even work from a brokerage perspective? Yeah. Where does the brokerage make money? Like, how does the business model work?
Well, we charge a small transaction fee on every deal, which right now is $749.
Okay. No
matter the size of the deal. So if you do a $10 million deal, it's $749. If you do a $500,000 deal, it's $749. Really nothing here under $500,000 or $600,000. So it's a very, very small price to pay for 100% commission. And we happen to be $99 a month, which basically keeps the lights on because all of our offices are full service brick and mortar.
Okay, so $99 a month. Okay, and so that includes what? Like all the tech and all the other stuff that
Yeah, it includes all the tech. Pretty much includes everything, like I said. Includes full service offices with printers. We don't charge for printing. If you need a desk to come in and work, there's desks here. Obviously, internet. All that wonderful stuff that you get at traditional brokerages happens to pay at 100%.
Got it. All right. So transaction fee and the monthly fee. So what kind of transaction volume are you guys going off of currently? Like your team, so you personally have 6 offices? Is that what I understand?
Have 6 offices, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, what kind of transaction volume do you guys have, either on a per agent or a per office or total volume?
Yeah, I mean, I think, last time we looked at the MLS stats, we have the highest per agent production in our MLS. So, for example, at any given time, about 75 to 77% of our agents are producing, which is off the charts. But the flip side of that, obviously, as at 100% commission, we do wind up with a lot of experienced agents. So, it's agents that have come from some of the other brokerages that just didn't want a traditional split anymore, and now can, go out there and earn the 100%. So it is a little bit of a different model. Not that we don't accept new agents, because we do. We have a pretty aggressive mentorship program. But most of the agents that we do get come from other brokerages looking to seek that 100%.
Got it. Yeah. So on the I guess the transactions up there. So you said you average what, 500? What's the average transaction size? Just so we have an idea.
About 500,000, 600,000 is probably the average sale price. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
so you do the math. It's.
Say that again.
I said you do the math. So I mean, it pays. It pays to be at 100% with a small transaction fee.
Yeah, for sure. And then you mentioned some tech. I'm curious again, what are you guys using, or what is the the company wide, is it like a proprietary CRM? Is it
proprietary system? It's called Real Smart Agent. You can check it out on YouTube or anywhere else. But basically, it's the agent's office away from the office. So, before virtual office was a big thing, we were probably the first people to offer, quote unquote, like a virtual office type of service, even though we're really not a virtual office. But agents can literally, work from anywhere on the planet. 24 hours, 7 days, we can access all the Home Smart tools, upload paperwork, do deals, get paid, etc. So I said, 100% model that operates very high tech. And for the most part, happy agents, and agents stay. We don't really have much turnover here. I'm not saying that not everybody stays, but for the most part, our turnover is very, very limited. We just continue to grow every month.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems like once you're in, because to me, that's a real I don't know. I guess if you guys are providing all the tech and all the back infrastructure and all of that, you're still not having to go it alone. But on the marketing front or on the branding front, it seems like from some of the stuff I was listening to you put out, it was like brand your own stuff. You're your own agent type of thing. So how do you guys operate that? Is it still Home Smart, but then it's like my personal real estate?
Yeah. So, I'm a big believer in it's the agent's business. For the most part, people don't care about the company you work for. People are going to work for people they know, like, and trust, right? They don't really care what the brokerage is. Like, you can move brokerages 10 times. Your client should never even have to know that, right? Because the agent is the brand. I find out with most brokerages, especially around here, it's always like, use our for sale signs with the office number, use our business cards with the office number, use our advertising with the office number. I'm kind of like the flip side of that. I'm like, get the for sale signs, put your cell phone on there, put your email on there. Obviously the law requires a small Home Smart logo. You want that on there, but I want your picture on there. I want your cell phone on there. I don't want your leads coming to the office. I want your leads going directly to you. So I think that's pretty important as well, that the agents are driving the business back for themselves, because look, at the end of the day, they're doing all the own marketing. So also I don't have any staff here. So it's really me, myself, and I that are supporting all the agents. It's kind of like a labor of love. But as far as broker support goes, my agents know that they can get me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't really have office managers. So, a typical office manager works 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Holiday weekend coming up, they're away with the family, they're laying on a beach somewhere. Their agent's having an open house with a problem on Sunday at 3 p.m. Pretty good chance they're not going to hear from that manager till Monday morning. With me, it's different. They're going to hear from me immediately when they have a problem. And that's another thing I think that they appreciate. I always say they come for the 100% commission, but that's nearly not why they stay. They really stay for the broker support and everything that I give them on a personal level.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting model. And so it seems to me, again, that you would have, because I've seen some guys do that here in Texas. Low, I think, there are a few guys that I've seen that have done it. Maybe not to that scale, but the guys that seem to be going there, the gals that seem to be going there, they are experienced. They know how to market themselves. They know how to get out, or they have a book of business or something like that. And then it's just, there's less of a benefit, I guess, of going and giving a big split to another broker when they are already generating the business on their own. So,
right. I mean, and even the big brokerages, right? Like we say, the traditional commission split brokerages. I mean, what are they doing to market the agent? They're marketing the office. They're marketing their own brand. Yeah. Right. Yeah. They're not really marketing the agent. And like I said, I'm a big believer that the agent's the brand,
Yeah.
And,
I mean, the flip side of that is name recognition. I mean, down here, some of the big names, if you're trying to move an expensive property, you can move it a lot faster internally if you are aligned with one of these large brokerage firms that
in some instances, I do agree with that, because there are some pockets here that are very Main Street like. Yeah. Where you got to have that office on Main Street, and people actually still walk in and say, "Hey, I need you to list my $4 million house," right? But I think most of that's gone away, and I think every day it goes away a little bit more as people in these neighborhoods start to shift and change, and demographics start to change, and the internet starts to change, and everything else. You definitely see a lot less of that. So I'd say 95% of the time, it really doesn't even matter.
Yeah. So I guess getting back, so if your agents are earning more commission, one of the big things that we talk about obviously is how agents can grow their cash flow, build their cash flow, and become work optional. Like that's the whole point of this show is to express that. And so you're doing a great thing where the agents are actually getting the lion's share of the commission on each of their deals. So if they're making more money, are you seeing your agents invest those dollars that they're making? And if so, like, how are they doing it? Or do you promote something in some form or fashion on?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of lead the way a little bit because I know that what I do on a personal level, my own personal investments, and I try to, show agents to do the same thing. So, for example, I invest in some, short-term rental properties.
Okay.
That give me passive income every month, allows me to pay for 2 kids' colleges, tuitions, loan free. That's where that money goes to. I just reinvest that back into my kids with their college, and I show my agents the same thing. So if they're making $40,000-$50,000 more a year here than they would at a traditional brokerage, they should be putting that money someplace. And then I try to explain to them, where I put it, where it helps me, and kind of get them to do the same thing. And I understand that short-term rental properties isn't for everybody. I just prefer them because I don't like being a landlord. And I know that if I don't have a good tenant for a week, they're out, right? But I always tell my agents that that's exactly what they should be doing. Maybe invest in, money market accounts, stock market, a million other things that they could be doing with this money instead of just blowing it on, a brand new BMW, right? So that's definitely one of the things I definitely teach. And if you've seen some of my videos, it's one of the things I also advise.
Yeah. So let's talk about short-term rentals then, because I like talking investments. So how did you get started in that? Why short-term rentals over long-term? I guess you kind of already answered that in the sense that you just want your tenants to cycle through and not have to deal with them. But the expense overlay. So do you manage those on your own?
No, I have a property manager like I do. Like I said, I stay in my lane.
Yeah.
I try to get good property managers that have good systems in place that are going to be able to maximize the amount of money that I'm making on the properties.
Yeah.
I don't do anything too big. I look at percentages of, if I'm paying X for a property, if I'm only making a few bucks a month on it, I'm happy, right? I'm looking to make money, whether it's $1 or $5,000, as long as I'm not losing money every month or every year on the property. To me, that's golden because these properties just keep going up and up and up. So Also over the last couple of years of doing this, I've also gained a whole bunch of equity as well.
Yeah. So let's talk a specific deal then, just because again, I like getting down to the nitty gritty to explain to somebody how you did this. So when did you first buy your first short-term rental?
Not that long ago. I think the first time was, where are we now? In 2023. So I bought 3 within a year and a half. So my first one was in March of 2021.
Okay.
Down in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
All right.
I just kind of looked at the numbers down there versus what the expenses were. And I just said, this is a no-brainer. And we use, DSCR money or DCSR money. I use, I'll also do, what do you call those? Bank statement loans, right? Which are considered kind of, I guess, subprime today, right? That's what the old subprime was. But I use those. Interest rates a little bit higher. But at the end of the day, I look at it this way. I don't care what the monthly payment is on the property, right? So as long as the property is producing me money, I don't really care, right? And then I look at how long is it going to take me to get back that initial down payment, right? So once I figure all that out, usually it only takes, a couple of years to get the initial down payment back, right? Yeah. And then everything's just kind of positive cash flow at that point.
Yeah.
And then you can decide, eventually maybe, as the rates go down, refinance out of some of those higher interest rates loans, take some money out, buy more properties. The reason why I haven't bought a property recently, only because some of the areas that I've been looking at, the prices just don't make sense for the amount of money that the property is producing. But if I found a property today, anywhere in the world that was going to make me at least $1 a month, I'm going to buy it.
Okay. All right. Let's break down a few things you just went through because I want to talk a specific deal then again, just to give people. So you got to start one with a down payment. So I assume from your active income, that's where that money is coming from. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you saved up, you got you're ready to buy. How did you pick Myrtle Beach? I lived there for a while. Great area.
Yeah, we're actually in North Myrtle Beach. My family, my children, we've gone down there a number of times and we enjoy it. We like the weather. It's kind of still gives you that 4 seasons. It just doesn't get bitterly cold in the winter. we like some of the upscale communities where we don't get a lot of the riffraff. So we go a little bit north, a little bit back from the beach, just so it's a little bit cheaper. But we like communities that are going to offer some amenities to our renters, obviously like a pool, maybe free transfer service to the beach, et cetera. And then also something where, during the winter months, we can get a 3-month kind of snowbird renter in there to also alleviate, some of the costs involved. So that's why we chose that area for our first one. And, that's been a moneymaker pretty much the day we got it in there, the day we got the property manager. We started renting that from pretty much day one, books up obviously all summer long. And then usually once the winter hits, we'll get like a 3-month tenant in there for the winter months. And then we start the process all over again. Usually we'll leave like a couple of weeks right before the beginning of the season and we'll do some upgrades. This year we redid all the furniture in there and we also did the bathrooms. At the end of this season, we're probably going to redo the flooring in there. So what we also do too is we take a lot of the money that we make and we reinvest it back in the property. Because look, we don't want to pay taxes on it, right? So either I'm going to put it back in the property or I'm going to pay Uncle Sam. So I'd rather put it back in the property and avoid, as much tax as possible.
Yeah, that's smart. All right, I'm just jotting some notes down. All right, so one, I want to talk about DSCR money, occupancy, some marketing and stuff just on this property specifically. So again, can you break down this property? Do you mind talking about it specifically? Like, what'd you buy it for?
I'll talk about it. Yeah. So I bought it in 2020 for 2021 for $158,000. It's actually gone up about $100,000 since.
Okay.
So now it's worth about $250,000. Basically, it was already a short-term rental previous to that, so we got a copy of the history. So we had a pretty good idea what the property was going to make. We knew that in July and August it was going to rent for about $1,400 to $1,500 a week. We knew in June or May to June, a little bit less than that, maybe $800 a week with some scattered openings, right? Because, that's a little bit different. And we knew that during the winter months, we can get about $1,500 a month. So when we did the math on it, it just made a lot of sense to do it. My expenses on that are probably, I don't know, $700 a month, $800 a month. So if you do the math, we're probably making, I don't know, $25,000, $26,000 a year on the property, give or take. So if you look at the return on investment, it just makes sense. Now that same property today, that's $100,000 more. Those numbers kind of maybe don't make as much sense. So, but at the numbers that we bought it at, it definitely made sense.
Yeah. No, your year one ROI is 16%, 16 and a half.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
solid.
And I'm not even looking for that much. Honestly, I'm just looking in the beginning, it's only been a couple of years. I'm just looking for a small return on investment in the beginning, hope for the equity. So that's on that particular property. I also have a property in Florida.
How much money do you think you'd say you guys have reinvested in that deal? Because you got to take that into account as well. But
probably reinvested about $12,000 back into that between the couple of bathrooms and some of the furniture.
That's
probably about
pretty good. That's lower than I thought for.
Yeah, maybe 13,000, give or take. And this winter will probably be like another 6,000 or 7,000 when we do the floors. So, but like I said, we try to reinvest back in the property.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. So again, it's good that you knew going into it what the prior rents had produced. Have you bought any since then that didn't have that track record and you guys had to create it? And
yeah, not there, but I bought a property in Naples, Florida.
Okay.
In a very, I guess, a higher end community where I had to pay money to buy into it. But I didn't really intend to short-term rent that as much as I do. I was, first of all, it's 30-day rental minimum there. And I was just thinking that my family and I would just use it. If we can rent it here and there, that would be great. It just turned out that the winter rates went up to a ridiculous number. So I get like $7,000 a month for a winter rental.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to turn that away. I have somebody now in 2024 is renting for 6 months from January through June. So she's paying, $7,000 a month for January, February, March, and then it goes down to like, I don't know, $5,500 in April, and then it might go down to like $4,800 in May. and then like 4,000 in June, right? So you kind of do the math there, and that's definitely making some money. And then, and then we'll have our periodic 30-day rentals in the summer and the spring. A lot of people that might be building in the area, they need a place to stay temporarily until their house is built. So we'll wind up getting some money with that as well. And then we may use it once or twice a year, just for a week at a time, just check in on the property. Bought that one in October of 21 with really no track record of any kind of rental. It just kind of blew up down there.
Yeah.
Florida's insane.
Yeah. I'm curious, why is the rental rate in the winter higher than it is in the summer? Seems like more.
Well, they get all the New York Northeast folks, right? So they don't want to use their, what's off here in New York. So they go down to Florida, and you obviously got the golf, you got the country club, you got the beaches, right? You got all that stuff down there, and they don't have to buy, right? So they don't have to worry about the headache. So once their stay is up, they pack up, they drive back up, and they're done. But so most of the people that are snowbirding are obviously from the Northeast, the Midwest, right, where the winters get pretty brutal.
So on that one, you bought that around the same time?
I bought that in 2021 of October for $300,000.
Okay.
It's worth about 450, 475 right now.
Yeah.
Kind of insane. We haven't put really any money back into the property, only because it's been rented so damn much that we haven't had the time. It doesn't really need as much, but we really haven't had a chance to even put anything back into that property.
Yeah, that's a pretty good win there. It's like,
we really got lucky on that one, because our intention was not even to rent it as much as we do. Yeah.
All right. So again, how did you pick that market? You went down there and you liked it. You're like, oh, this is great. I want to buy a house down here. And
it was just, the beaches are beautiful down there. I think, Southwest Florida has some of the most beautiful beaches in the country. Some of the greatest place for shopping, restaurants. So it was just a great place to, just even to go, a few times a year, maybe even to hold on to it for when I decide to eventually move down there, get in early, right? That whole thing, because the prices were climbing. So that was really the intention on that property. I've always wanted a property in Florida. So we just decided at that point, that was a good time to do it. And the interest rates were low, right? I mean, compared to what they are now. I mean, now that same property, it's going to cost me 7.5% to get into, or right now I think I'm at 3.5%, right? So a big difference. I mean, the interest rates had really bottomed out at that price. So at that point of the year, so it really was a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, it's great timing on the acquisition and the rates and the price jump, obviously, that we all saw right after that. What's your advice, I guess, if anybody's looking to buy short-term rental right now, like what's your advice to them? Or is the advice like, wait, there's not much on the market right now. It just doesn't make sense with the rates.
Yeah, I think the short-term market right now is a little bit tough because of, the prices being as high as they are. But if they can find something that makes sense, that is going to be, a decent return on their investment, they should definitely jump into it. Listen, there's pockets all over the place where you can find something. You just need to dig.
Yeah.
I've been digging a little bit. I just really haven't found anything yet. And you said you're in Texas. I don't know how close you are to Austin, but Austin's right now insane.
Yeah. Insane in what way? Pricing or
pricing?
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. The prices, the price. So in San Antonio, we're 45 minutes south of Austin, and the prices that we see here are usually just pretty steady. Like we're not going to get the highs of either side, either coast, anything like that. Not the big drops in pricing or the massive increases, but the last couple of years, yes, we saw a heavy increase in prices. Austin, though, is just crazy. I've been looking at waterfront property all around Austin for quite some time. And when I started looking, I should have bought, there was a couple properties that I should have bought, like on LBJ, and they doubled in price, like $1 million to $2 million pretty easily, like for some lakefront up there. It's coming down a little bit now, and things have been on the market a little bit longer, but it's still like it's a constant lake. And so, yeah. And
that's another thing too. I think people really expected this market to really bottom out over the last year, and it hasn't. I know there's been some sections of the country where it has gone down a little bit, but for the most part, we've seen a lot of price appreciation in most markets, which I think surprises a lot of people. Which is why I also see the market picking up a little bit now, because I think buyers now are starting to realize that the market's really not going to drop. So you better get in when you can and refinance later.
Yeah. The tough thing is, and the reason it's not is because you have all these buyers, owners of property, sellers of property who have what did you say? 3.5? There were 2.5 rates out there.
4%, right? I think they say 90% of home sellers right now have a sub 4 mortgage rate. But I think, again, I don't have my crystal ball. I think that once interest rates go into the 5s, which I think will probably be towards the end of the year, maybe first quarter of next year, I think you're going to see a feeding frenzy again, because now you're going to get that 5. Once you get into the 5s, people don't think 5 7/8, 5 3/4. They think 5.
Yeah.
Right. So it becomes like a mental thing. Oh, interest rates. I get 5%. Right. And that'll get closer to the 3.5 and 4%. And then people will be able to make their move from their current. And then you'll see an influx of property coming back on the market. That's really what I see happening. And let me tell you, when that does happen, you better watch out. Because if you think the last 2 years were crazy, you have no idea what's going to happen with those pent up demand once that happens.
Yeah. So are you kind of holding until something like that happens? Are you waiting on rates? You
mean to buy or to sell?
To buy. Yeah.
I'll buy now if I find the right property. I said, interest rates don't scare me. You can always refinance that down the road. As long as it's making me money, that's really all I care about. I just really haven't found the next property.
Yeah. I had a guy on 2 weeks ago. His thing will come out soon, but we were talking, he does container homes and he has a shop in Texas. Cool, And so we were talking about it, just trying to figure out like what he is doing and how buyer and investor can actually use those for short-term rentals. So he's doing some pretty cool projects. And so I've kind of shifted my mind a little bit into thinking about some sort of small development type projects on cool properties, right? So that's really kind of the thing. I've also wondered, since you're a short-term rental guy, a lot of what I've heard is if you are not, creating that boutique hotel sort of feel, then your property is going to not get as much, rental.
Certain areas you have to have a little bit of an extra, you got to fold the towel the right way, you got to turn it into a swan or something.
Yeah.
When they
you haven't noticed that? You haven't seen that?
The company handles. I don't really get involved in that. At the end of the day, I look at the calendar, and as long as the calendar is filled up, pretty happy. That means everybody's doing their thing.
Yeah.
You were touching on the container homes. You see Home Depot selling these small homes, these tiny homes now for whatever is $20,000. Could you imagine putting 5 or 6 of them on your own property and just renting them out?
Yeah, that's what I was talking to him about. Yeah. I have a couple acres on the water over in Seguin, just close by. And I was like, man, that'd be perfect. It's just one of those easy because you have water access. So again, on the short-term rental front, is it something that, you have both properties are close to the beach? I don't know what your other properties are.
I have one now in the mountains as well.
Yeah. So
I'm very lucky on that one as well. I bought that one about a year ago, right when the rates were high. So I'm a little bit in a higher rate situation there in terms of the mortgage. But they've been redoing all the ski lifts in the community. So we've had renters in there pretty much from the day we rented it.
Yeah.
Which has been good because it's just companies in and out 30 days at a time, projects and they pay top dollar.
What mountain? Where is it?
Poconos.
Okay. Right on.
Mountains, Pennsylvania. Yeah. So we've been very lucky with that as well. Our community just happens to be doing a lot of upgrades. So they, workers need a place to stay. And, we've been very lucky with that over the last year. Hopefully that continues. So again, that's been also very, very profitable. Yeah. So we ran into a little bit of good luck as well.
We're proud to be sponsored by Ridgeline Investment Group. Ridgeline has a track record of transacting more than $53 million in assets throughout Texas. Ridgeline is currently looking to acquire 100 to 200 unit Class B multifamily communities between 5 and 20 million in San Antonio, Temple, Waco, Tyler, and other Texas secondary markets. To learn more about Ridgeline Investment Group, visit www.ridgelineig.com. It seems like you picked your market. So again, what advice would you have? You say you got lucky, but I don't know. It sounds like all three kind of hitting it well. So what advice would you give to your agents or anybody listening that when they're looking for a deal that maybe is short-term rental, like what should they look out for in a market? What's it?
Yeah, definitely look at something that they know that they can rent, something that's probably in a vacation community, or something where, something that you would enjoy, right? So all the places that I own are actually places that I go.
Yeah.
Right. So if you enjoy it, that means other people do. So definitely pick a place like that to do it. And then, if you're not close by, make sure you pick a management company that you can trust. That's going to take care of the property.
Okay. How do you go about selecting a management company?
Well, luckily enough, there's things like Facebook and social media where you can kind of just reach out to people in similar Facebook groups and say, who are you using? Who are you using? Kind of get reviews that way, and then you interview the property management companies, and then you can check out how their properties are doing, right? So if their properties are booking, then you know that you're in a good spot. So that's pretty much the way we chose our management companies.
What across your three, like what's typical fee that you're paying for each of those?
I pay anywhere from 10 to 25% depending on where the property is.
Okay.
But yeah, I think in North Myrtle Beach, I think it's like 10%. In Florida, it might be 15%. And in Pennsylvania, it seems like the going rate's about 25 for a quality property manager.
Okay.
So it really, it is what it is, right? So I'd like to pay less. I'd like to pay nothing, right? But you need good people. You're going to pay for quality, like anything else, right? Don't skimp on quality. It's going to cost you more in the long run.
Yeah. Okay. So you check out the management. You're looking at a place with like a vacation area. What about amenities? Like, do you have?
Yeah, you want to make sure you're close to amenities, or the place has amenities. Like my place in Florida, for example, I belong to the country club. So the country club membership is transferable. When you have a tenant in there, they pay the transfer of the membership for the time that they're there, so they get to use the country club amenities. In Pennsylvania, I also belong to a country club where my guests, for a very, very small fee, can use the amenities for the country club as well, whether they want to go out on the lake, rent the boat, go fishing, etc. So they can do that there as well. So that's something that I think is important. And then obviously North Myrtle Beach, you already have pools, beaches, and everything within a stone's throw. So again, just amenity-filled places where families are going to enjoy themselves.
Yeah. So with the country club, what's been is it pretty high? Like the number of tenants that actually take you up on that?
In Florida, everybody takes me up on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
That's why they go. Right. Yeah. So they want to be able to go to the huge country club pool. They want to use the restaurants in the country club. Right. They want to attend the parties and the wine tastings and the golf and everything that goes into being part of a country club.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the other thing. So with that property we've got out in Seguin, that was, we haven't even done it yet. I'd need to, but it's like just one of those things, putting it up. So we're local enough where I feel like I could probably do it. But do you know, are most of your bookings coming from like an Airbnb, or are they coming direct through your management company?
A little bit of both. So we do get the Airbnb with them, and obviously the VRBO. But some of them are pretty big players in the area as far as they're like the go-to for rentals. So a lot of them might be direct bookings as well. So it just kind of varies.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting, man. So, and you're taking the profits. You said you put 2 kids through school, or you're
I'm in the process of putting 2 kids through college. Right. And that's basically paying for every dime of it, both kids right now. So, and that's what I said to my wife. I said, listen, as long as it's not coming out of my pocket, right? These kids, God bless them. They're in a position to get that done for them. So that's what I've been doing now. Obviously, it's saving some of it, reinvesting some of it, doing upgrades on some of the units, right? So that's basically where the money's going. I try not to, again, you put that money in your pocket, you have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah. So, all right. So you got three properties and you're looking, but you haven't found anything else. So, have you looked at any other type of investment strategies? Or are you going to stick with that just because it's tried and true?
Well, it's kind of like my lane right now, right? Yeah. So I'll probably stick with it. Obviously, I reinvest money elsewhere into self-employment IRAs, stuff like that, right? But as far as like hard assets, I'm also been looking around the Smoky Mountains a little bit, but that's getting expensive. I've been looking in Las Vegas a little bit, but again, that's expensive. But I am looking, and if I find the right place that I know that's going to make me some money every month, I'll jump into it.
Yeah. Have you looked at buying from, like an investment company or like wholesalers or anything in those markets, and then actually putting putting some work into those projects so you still have
I don't want to
equity
do
in it?
anything. You know what? I don't want to.
That's what I'm curious.
I look for things that are relatively turnkey.
Yep. Okay.
Literally down to the linens. So basically I buy it, and while I'm getting ready to close on it, I'm already putting the property manager in place. So the day that it closes, I can start renting it.
Yeah. Yeah. Smart. Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if you were equity driven in that sense where you're like, some of the numbers may start to make sense if you're getting kind of a 20% discount on the full value of the deal, if you have to put some equity into it.
Very hard to do when you're managing that kind of stuff remotely.
Yeah. That's the question. So, okay. So we're talking about short-term rentals. Let's see what else. Yeah. So do you see your agents in your office, or do you promote them investing like in the local market or anything like that? Or is it really
I would invest in the local market here. It's just crazy. And it's in New York, it's a very, very tenant friendly state. So I would never recommend anybody investing in New York.
Yeah.
For that reason. So I do look for, I hate to say it, but I do look for states that have more of a landlord policy. Like, for example, Florida, you don't pay your rent in 30 days. Sheriff comes in, puts a padlock out the door, and throws your furniture out to the curb.
Yep.
Right. So that's the kind of stuff that I want. Right. I don't want to hold on to properties that people aren't paying. Listen, I get it. People have trouble, and you know what? I don't get involved in this business. I need to pay my bills just like you need to pay your bills. So I look for landlord friendly states in that situation. So I wouldn't really invest in New York.
Yeah. Okay. So you do not advocate that to your agents then. So do you have any like top producers in your company or in your brokerage that you see investing and they're having success doing it wherever they're doing it?
Yeah, I have a couple of agents right now that are kind of dabbling a little bit into it. A couple of, maybe have one or two of the short-term rentals in different areas as well. So they've actually started doing that, but it's scary, right? Because now you have this extra money and it's like, what do I do with it? Do I put it in the bank and earn nothing? Or do I put it into a hard asset that's going to generate me money, right? And then there's always risk to that, right? You don't know for sure it's going to generate you money. Yeah, the numbers look good, but, everything could turn on a dime, So I think some agents are a little bit risk adverse. I'm the complete opposite. I've always been a risk taker when it came to business, which is why I'm in the position that I'm in today. Everybody told me I was out of my mind to open up the business model that I opened. I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as an opportunity. And I always look at the worst case scenario. If it's not going to put me in jail or kill me, I'm probably going to do it. That's my model.
Wide range of things you can work on there.
So I always tell people that all the time. It's not going to put me in jail. It's not going to kill me. I'm probably going to do it.
Yeah, that's funny. That's interesting. So then I early on in the podcast, I brought on a bunch of agents that were very green and really just kind of starting and trying to figure out, because I like that conversation to talk to them early and just kind of figure out what they're working on and what their mindset is. And you just alluded to something about the investing side where, they may be afraid to do it. So again, what would your advice be to anyone who is thinking about getting into investing or putting their dollars to work? And yet you can see it on them. They're like, I don't know. I'm kind of scared. Like, what's the advice there?
I think they should do it. But again, if they're scared, you can't, I always say if they're afraid, you got to find out what are they afraid of?
Yeah.
What is the worst case scenario? You sell it, right? Yeah, you may take a little bit of a hit. You're not a full hit, but you'll take a little bit of a hit. It's a tax write-off. You take a loss, you write it off on your taxes, right?
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's not going to put you in jail. It's not going to kill you. Just give it a shot. Like I said, what's the worst thing that can happen?
That's right.
And that's the way I live my life.
Yeah. So my advice then, based on what you just said, is figure out what you're afraid of and write it down, and then go find the answers to that. And once if it's the numbers, get as comfortable as you can, but then go and execute. That's go execute.
And if they're afraid of that, sometimes you wonder how afraid they're going to be to pick up a call and call somebody. Yeah. So you got to figure out, what are they really afraid of? Are they really afraid, or are they just risk adverse?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think we leave it with that, because that's go out and do it. Get to it.
Nike thing. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Well, Rich, man, it's been good having you on. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. I'm Short-term rentals is an awesome space. And if you can get into it, that's, I think there's money there still. So, again, appreciate it. If you want to reach out to Rich, I'm going to put your contact info in the show notes. So by all means, reach out to him and you can talk to him and his team there. So, have a good one, man. Catch you on the next episode. Did you know that 80% of the agents we speak with got into real estate in order to gain passive income so they could obtain financial freedom and become work optional? If you want to stay up to date, the best way is to make sure you're subscribed. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do it now. We'll catch you on the next episode.